Call this meeting to order, the regular meeting of the York County School Board for April the 23rd, 2018. Mr. Medford is traveling, so we're missing him tonight, and unfortunately, Dr. George is under the weather. He had to leave early. He was here earlier for a closed session we had earlier, but he had to leave because he's under the weather, so we hope he's feeling better. So we're going to go into our pledge and our pledge leader. And our pledge leader tonight is from Magruder Elementary School. Our principal is Mark Kirk, and it's Ansley Harris. So Ansley is a fifth grade student in Mrs. Hodges' class at Magruder Elementary School, and Ansley has been a student at Magruder since the second grade. She transferred there from Yates Elementary School. During her time at Magruder, she has been on the All-A Honor Roll for all 4 quarters throughout her grades 3 through 4. Ansley is one of our fifth grade ambassadors, which involves her greeting the many special guests that may visit the school. She volunteers to read or to be read to by selected first graders. She is considered a role model in her class and is always willing to help her teacher, her classmates, and her friends. Ansley seems to understand that not all students learn the same way and always volunteers to help. She accepts challenges as an opportunity to learn and grow, and she often says that when she grows up, she wants to be a teacher. So, good job. All right, let's all stand for the pledge for Ms. Ansley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ansley. And we're now going to move into some special presentations. We're going to start with our seniors of the month. And first we have Bruton High School and Ms. Haywood.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. This evening I have the honor of introducing to you Shannon Caldwell from Bruton High School. And Shannon, here with your mother, Mrs. Colleen Caldwell, and Sister Jane. You're here. Stand up, everybody. And is there anybody else with you? Okay. Let me share some information with you about Shannon. Bruton High School is proud to celebrate and honor Shannon Caldwell as our April Senior of the Month. Shannon is an exceptional scholar and has earned a 4.61 grade point average and will be honored as the salutatorian for the class of 2018. Shannon has served as Vice President of the Spanish Honor Society, Captain of the field hockey team, and Treasurer of the National Honor Society. She is a member of the Scholastic Bowl team, Key Club, HOSA, girls soccer, and indoor track team. Shannon has earned perfect attendance in grades 9 through 10 and has received numerous outstanding student awards and is recognized by College Board as an AP Scholar with distinction. This award is granted to students who earn an average of 3.5 or higher on 5 or more AP exams. Shannon is also a talented artist, and her art has been displayed at local restaurants. Shannon serves our community as a youth group and Literacy for Life volunteer. Shannon will attend James Madison University, and this part I love, and major in nursing. Congratulations, Shannon. We're very proud of you.
Great job, thank you. So next up, we have Grafton and then Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We would like to recognize Ms. Hannah Young and your friend. You want to stand up as well? Yeah, good. Unfortunately, her parents couldn't be here tonight. We're pleased to recognize Hannah as Grafton High School's April Senior of the Month. Hannah is a quiet, unassuming young woman who has been one of the top students in her high school class during her entire high school career. She attained a solid 4.59 cumulative GPA through her first 3 years in high school, while at the same time taking challenging courses in English, math, history, and science, including 14 weighted courses towards an advanced studies diploma. Hannah is a very dedicated, responsible, hardworking student at Grafton. She is very personable and respectful and can get along with everyone equally well. Some notable awards that Hannah has earned are being accepted to the Governor's School to study the Biological Sciences strand, earning the Presidential Volunteer Service Award the past 3 years in a row, and being inducted into the Math Honor Society and Spanish Honor Society. In addition, Hannah is well liked by her teachers and classmates. She's been heavily involved in the Peninsula International Youth Orchestra while at the same time volunteering a large amount of her free time with Special Olympics and Asian Association. Hannah is interested in studying urology in college because she is interested in improving others' health while at the same time satisfying her intellectual interests. She's a well-rounded young lady who also serves on the York County Youth Commission. This year, every course Hannah is taking is a weighted course which requires a strict budgeting of her time and attention to details on every front. This attention to detail is something Hannah works very hard to attain, not only in her academics, but also her extracurricular activities. And we are pleased to recognize Hannah as Grafton Senior of the Month. Congratulations.
Great job. So next, the next senior of the month is from Tabb High School, and it's Preston Clickar. I don't believe he's here tonight. He had a soccer game, so he wasn't going to be able to attend. So he plans to attend the May meeting, and we'll read his write-up then at the May meeting. So next we have York High School, and we have Elena Evans and her parents, Bob Evans and Nancy Figgenbaum. Are they with her? Yes. Anybody else with you there? Okay, perfect. So York High School is pleased to announce Elena Evans as the April Senior of the Month. Elena is a definition of a well-rounded student. She currently ranks in the top 10% of her class and in the International Baccalaureate program. Due to Elena's stellar academic performance, she holds membership in the Spanish Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, the Science Honor Society, National Honor Society, and the Society of Torch and Laurel. Elena is a talented swimmer who has competed with the Williamsburg Aquatic Club, 757 swim, and the York High varsity swim team. She's a regional finals qualifier, regional champion, state qualifier, and a record holder. In 2017, Elena placed in the forensics competition in the extemporaneous category, where she won first place in the area of conference and went on to place first at the regional conference. Elena is actively involved in community. She has volunteered with many organizations like the Jones Institute of Reproductive Medicine, Centera Hospital, and the Virginia Democratic Party. She also serves as the assistant head coach for Two River Typhoons and as a volunteer swim coach for the 757 swim team. Leadership comes naturally to Elena. She is the founder of the York Young and Healthy Club, the Natasha House partnered with Youth Club. She also founded the Month of Giving fundraiser for the Natasha House. She is a member of the SCA Advisory Board and the chairman of the York County Youth Commission. Congratulations, Elena. We are proud to have you as part of the Falcon family. Continue persevering and being a trailblazer that you are. All right, next we're going to move into our Student Service Awards. Ms. Haywood.
I do indeed, as Dr. Shander moves down forward. If Brandon Freeman from Magruder Elementary School will come forward with Principal Mr. Mark Kirk. And I will have the opportunity to read some information to you about Brandon. The Student Service Award for Magruder Elementary School is being presented to Brandon Freeman. Brandon is a fifth grade student in Mrs. Shell's classroom. Brandon started his own clothing line after participating in a fourth grade project last year. He has donated 100% of his proceeds to various charities and groups in the community. He has included supporting breast cancer awareness and the Bruton High School Choir. He has achieved AB Honor Roll each of the first 3 marking periods this year, as well as in previous years. His teacher says that he is considered a model of excellence in his class and is always willing to support and encourage his teacher, classmates, and others in the building and community. Please join me in congratulating Brandon. I said, Brandon, we're going to have to see some pictures of your clothing line. And You want me to continue? I have the Student Service Award for Tabb Middle School. If Emma Cold Snow will come forward with Principal Mrs. Heather Young.
She's at a softball game.
That's right, that's right, you did tell me, so I'm gonna. But I'm still gonna read some information to you about Emma. Tabb Middle School feels privileged to recognize Emma Cold Snow as our Student Service Award winner. Emma exemplifies commitment to her studies, demonstrates a passion to serve and lead others, and shows a positive attitude toward peers and teachers. Emma has challenged herself academically since entering middle school. She is enrolled in several advanced courses and maintains an A average in all courses. Her teachers describe her as a true leader to her peers at an age where it will be intimidating to step up. Emma is not afraid to serve or lead any charge and models excellence toward the task at hand. She works well independently, but she is also a team player, willingly accepting advice and guidance. Not only is Emma a poised student, but she is also an involved citizen and a well-rounded athlete. Emma volunteers at the Salvation Army and serves as a volunteer coach to beginners learning the sport of softball. Additionally, Emma attends fellowship and faith-filled events with the Wildlife Organization. In school, Emma is the craft committee leader of the National Junior Honor Society and volunteers to change the school's marquee. Her involvement in the TMS Club, Chain Reactions, has created several opportunities for her to welcome new students to the school, meet them for lunch, and introduce them to other students. Emma is also a leader on the court and field, serving as captain of the girls' basketball, field hockey, and softball teams. Emma Cold Snow is truly delightful to be around. Her academic achievements, capacity for leadership, and motivation to serve makes her a great honoree for this award. Please join me in congratulating her.
All right, next we have our Community Volunteers of the Month, and if Lori Cavon could come up with Mr. Kirk, Principal. Well, Lori is a shining example of a committed school volunteer. She is the current PTA president, but her impact at the school extends far beyond this important role. Last year, she took on the responsibility of keeping up the butterfly gardens and the bluebird habitats at the school. She has continued this work through this school year and has proven to be a true advocate for outdoor education. She has logged many hours working with the school officials to seek donations from local businesses, including Lowe's and True Value, to support the gardens. She has worked tirelessly on behalf of the PTA and the school to make Magruder a great place for students to learn and grow. Congratulations. And our next community volunteer, Mr. Anderson, you have that one.
Yes, could we have Ms. Kelly Carnahan and her principal, Ms. Heather Young, come to the front? Tabb Middle School is fortunate to have many parents who offer their time and talents to our students. While Ms. Kelly Carnahan prefers to stay out of the limelight, she stands out in her dedication and service to all at Tabb Middle School. Ms. Carnahan is serving her 4th term on our PTA Executive Board and will surely be missed as she graduates to the high school next year. Though Ms. Carnahan does a lot behind the scenes, she is a regular fixture at Tabb Middle. She eagerly gives her time at open house, back to school night, and school dances. And when a teacher requests assistance, Ms. Carnahan is often the first to volunteer. She has chaperoned countless field trips and has provided teachers support with everything from sizing chorus dresses to soliciting parent volunteers for events. Ms. Carnahan has chaired the Sunshine and Hospitality Committees for 4 years, and we can't think of a better person for the job. She oozes sunshine. She coordinates several festive staff luncheons each year, of which we have not been invited, by the way. Leaving staff with full bellies and lifted spirits. Ms. Carnahan also spearheads staff recognitions at Tabb, and her thoughtful manner comes through as she personalizes treats for our teachers, bus drivers, counselors, custodial staff, cafeteria staff, and front office staff. She has a way of making each group feel valued and important, and in addition to national recognition days, she often surprises staff with little surprises to keep everyone smiling. Thank you, Ms. Carnahan, for sharing your kindness and warm heart with our school community. Your selfless efforts make Tabb a better place, and we appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
So now we have the York Foundation for Public Education presentation, and I'm going to ask Ms. Haywood to share comments.
Thank you. So congratulations to Ansley Harris, a fifth grade student from Magruder Elementary School, for reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. So Ansley, come forward. Would also like to recognize tonight's Student Service Award recipients, Emma Colsnow from Tabb and Brandon from Magruder. And then our seniors, Shannon Caldwell from Bruton, Hannah from Grafton. We're going to get a gift to Preston, and then Elena from York High. Special gifts from Cookie Tex and Edible Tweet are being presented on behalf of the York Foundation for Public Education in partnership with their donors, Jeannie Fioca of Cookie Tex and Edible Tweet. A Walmart gift card is also being presented to each award recipient from a York Foundation supporter. And joining us tonight are Mr. and Mrs. Larry and Kathy Cheney, representing the foundation. We're going to come back for the other one. Don't go
So we have a few other presentations, but before we do those, we're going to move into our accent on academics, and I'll ask Dr. Shandor to share and introduce that before we finish up the other awards we have.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. For this evening's Accent on Academics, we will have a presentation from Tabb High School and its Social Advocacy Project. The Social Advocacy Project is a year-long, multi-component assignment that develops the 21st century students' ability to communicate, collaborate, and think critically and creatively about a topic of their choosing. To share more about this presentation and introduce the students and other presenters is Miss Angie Siders, Tabb High School Principal.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Shandor and members of the board. I'm Angela Siders, the principal of Tabb High School, and tonight I have the pleasure of sharing with you the work of Jackie Malone, an English teacher at Tabb High, as we present a transformative learning experience that Mrs. Malone created called the Social Advocacy Project. As you're aware, the Board of Education has heard from students, families, and educators that earning a diploma should be about more than passing a prescribed series of courses and tests. The board also has heard from higher education, businesses, and the military that graduates need skills and attributes such as the 5 C's to be successful in life. In response, the board is redesigning the high school experience and developing a profile of a Virginia graduate. And you know THS was eager to jump on board. Tabb High has focused a huge portion of our professional development on the 5 C's in response to the profile of a Virginia graduate. The 5 C's include critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, communication, and citizenship. Tabb High has encouraged the teachers to create projects and lessons involving many of them as possible. Our foreign language department has flawlessly integrated Seesaw into their daily instruction to quickly assess student knowledge with student-created recorded audio files and documents. Our math department is solving a real-world problem by trying to find a path from Tabb Middle to Tabb High, but avoiding the traffic on Yorktown Road. Our history department can take our students anywhere in the world with a 360 experience using VR goggles. And our English department has used BYOT for the Quizzes app to review content before collaborating online in Office 365 for a persuasive speech. And for our focus tonight, the Social Advocacy Project surpassed all expectations and effortlessly included authentic experiences that would impact these students in a meaningful way. Mrs. Malone will now share with you her experience implementing this into the curriculum.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Malone. I am an English teacher at Tabb High School and very excited to have the opportunity to share the work my students are doing in our classes. The idea for the Social Advocacy Project began the first year I taught 12th grade English in Newport News Public Schools. It was romantic poetry that led to a public service announcement assignment that had students making connections to the importance of literary themes and their lives. It was a teacher's dream. And they were enjoying the opportunities I gave them to investigate and raise awareness on topics that were both interesting and important to them. Fast forward 2 years, and I again am given the opportunity to teach 12th grade English here in York County. Now, what I have learned about high school seniors is that senioritis is a real and dangerous thing. Most students do not have the burdens of SOLs to worry about. If they intend on going to college, their attention and focus can only be held until the acceptance letter is received. And for those not planning on attending a full-year college, there is little to keep them engaged. As you are aware, 12th grade English focuses on a survey of British literature as part of the Virginia Standards of Learning. And I feel a particular connection to this area of English study because in case my accent hasn't emerged yet, I am British. While I am an English literature nerd, I know for most 17 and 18-year-old students, the dead, white English males that make up the English literary canon and most textbook reading assignments are not a very exciting prospect. Which left me with the question, how can I engage these kids for a whole year, adhere to the standards, and give them a rigorous preparation for the next stage of their lives, whether that's MIT or the military, Virginia Tech or TNCC. First rule of lesson planning, go back to the standards. The Virginia SOLs require students be taught 4 strands: reading, writing, communication, and research. And while I still teach the drama, prose, and poetry of those dead white English males, students spend an equal amount of time researching, writing, sharing, and reading on topics they've chosen. Voice and choice. A phrase we hear frequently in educational circles is the backbone of the Social Advocacy Project. I begin the year talking to students about their passions. What makes you want to get up every day? What gets you excited? What gets you riled up? These are the questions I challenge them to think about. We discuss societal problems, read literature that addresses people's struggles, and then I ask them to develop a proposal for how they would like to change the world, whether that world is Tabb High School, their neighborhood, or the other side of the world. But back to the assignments themselves. Spread across all 4 quarters, assignments cover each of the SOL strands: research, reading, writing, communication. During the first semester, students work on developing their research skills, being discerning consumers of information, learning how to identify fake news, non-credible sources. These are the skills of the 21st century learner. We are bombarded with information, so discerning the good from the dangerous is essential. Students begin compiling a list of people and organizations in the real world who they will be able to reach out to during their business writing assignment. They learn how to write professional emails and letters, develop promotional resources, and create eye-catching advertising materials in the forms of posters and infographics. I love watching their faces when they receive a real response from a real person. They start realizing they have the power to make a difference, and that is a potent force for engagement. But the one aspect of this assignment that causes the most concern, yet creates the greatest sense of accomplishment in students, is the Ignite Talk. This public speaking experience with no note cards, in the auditorium, with presentation slides moving every 15 seconds automatically, whether they're ready for it or not, has become a rite of passage at Tabb. Taking the passion they have developed in their topic and sharing it with their classmates and distinguished guests has proven to be a worthwhile experience both for the presenter and audience. Each student's confidence rises as they realize they are capable of accomplishing the scariest of tasks, speaking in public. An unexpected bonus is the camaraderie that develops because they have faced this adversity together, supported each other, and lived to tell the tale. A consistent comment in the post-Ignite Talk reflection essays demonstrates students are proud of themselves and proud of their classmates. The final assignments of the Social Advocacy Project include the required 12th grade research paper and a culminating project where students must move their project beyond the walls of our classrooms. Students earn points based on what they do to raise awareness or that make an actual impact on their topic. Last year's students were involved in a wide variety of beneficial community outreach events, to include volunteering countless hours, picking up trash in support of their environmental concerns, to include teaching elementary and middle school students about the importance of recycling, speaking out against racism, bullying, and body shaming at local youth and church groups, raising awareness of Alzheimer's, ALS, depression, suicide prevention, and alcoholism, working with local animal shelters to look after abandoned and abused pets, and supporting healthy lifestyles with tobacco cessation, safe driving practices, and drug prevention programs. I am excited to see what the graduating class of 2018 will accomplish. To give insight into the student experience with this project, I have brought along Isaiah Hall, Gabriella Reuter, and Grace Riley. The topics they chose for their social advocacy projects are as different as each of them. But the common thread is that they all embraced my crazy ideas and demonstrated a passion for and commitment to their topics. Thank you. Over to the important ones.
Hello, I am Isaiah Hall. I'm part of Ms. Malone's English 12 class. When we were assigned the social advocacy project, I had a harder time than I thought I would picking my topic. I really had to sit down and think about things that were important to me and that could benefit others around me. In the end, I chose local pollution, as I felt like world pollution was way too large for a start. I chose this because I knew it was something that meant a lot to me and something that I could make an immediate impact with. Once I started researching my topic, I was honestly frustrated with this project, as I felt like it had nothing to do with English 12, and because we were preparing for a speech, it felt like more of a public speaking class. I've been taking advanced English since middle school, and in all honesty, I only took regular English this year, as I felt like it would reduce my school workload, with my father being deployed, going to work, and helping my mom at home. The Ignite Talk project was a lot of work. However, as I continued to research work on my Ignite Talk, I began to realize that these kinds of projects are what most high schools lack across America. In today's world, we as people have become so obsessed with the need for technology that our social skills really have deteriorated. During my research, I was able to communicate with others that had similar topics, and I also collaborated with media specialists to enhance my researching skills. When I go to George Mason University, I'll be majoring in forensic science, and through collaborating with others during the Ignite Talk project, I feel more confident in my abilities to excel in my field and work with others. The first part of this project really opened up my eyes, built a greater sense of citizenship, and made me realize that with growing up, I will need to be able to speak to those around me in a professional way while maintaining composure. As the school year comes close to the end, I am hoping to collaborate with other teachers and students to bring beneficial features to Tabb High School. I plan on writing a grant to get funds to provide us with water bottle fillers for our water fountains. As a result of all my work, I am able to look back and appreciate this project for what it did in helping me plan for my future.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Reuter, and I'm here to talk to you about my social advocacy project and my topic on fast fashion. To be quite honest, school isn't something I've been really interested in. Unfortunately, that applies to many students in high school. My disinterest is mainly because we aren't taught the type of things I am interested in. I like politics, environmental, and social issues, things I can feel involved in. Before our class was assigned this project, I wasn't very good at turning in my classwork. I had a very low C in the class. But weeks later, my grade went up, and I started turning my work, and it's because of this project. Getting to be involved in the project I had chosen myself helped me maintain my interest and creativity in the assignments, which made me more interested in school and engaged in the class. I did my project on fast fashion. When I think of fashion, I visualize people showing their uniqueness and personality through their clothes, shoes, and accessories. It basically shows the world who they are, and what they like. I'm also very conscious of what we're doing to our environment. So doing this project helped me put my interest in education together. My love for fashion and the environment was something I never thought would go together until I watched the documentary, The True Cause, which was my inspiration for choosing the topic. Giving me the opportunity to speak to you today is amazing. And with the help of Ms. Malone, my English teacher, I was also given the opportunity to speak at the fashion show our school had hosted. I also had plans, with the approval of our school's administration, to host a screening of the film The True Cause. The reason my interest in this topic started. Raising awareness and finding solutions for the social and environmental issues that the fast fashion industry causes has become very important to me. I am learning to communicate with people and organizations beyond the classroom. Through public speaking and opportunities like the Ignite Talk and my fashion show presentation, but I also through written communications by writing letters, creating pamphlets, and utilizing social media platforms. Ms. Malone told us to find something we could get passionate about. I think I did.
Hi, my name is Grace Riley, and I'm here to talk about the social advocacy project my peers and I have been doing for a while now. I think we can all agree that preparing for the Ignite Talk was the hardest part. I've always been afraid of public speaking, so when I heard we were doing a project that required public speaking, I started to freak out. To help get over my fear, I wrote a script for me to memorize, and I practiced in front of my puppy. However, my fear of public speaking was still present on the day of my presentation. I could feel my face heating up and my palms sweating. But there were a couple things that day that helped me get through the day, such as being prepared, knowing that I'm doing this for something I believe in, and I had one of my best friends in the audience cheering me on. My social advocacy project is on better funding for music programs. Music brings uniqueness and that pop of color into the world. My sister and I came up with the 3 C's: courage, creativity, and confidence. Each one plays a key role in music education and developing a well-rounded person. Music is a way of life, and I personally don't understand what the world would be like without it. I also wanted to do this project because I've been in the band for 7 years. I love marching band and symphonic band, and I love the bonds I've made through this program. I also chose this topic because music is a great coping mechanism. My mom passed away when I was 6, so I only had my family and a couple of friends. Music was the one thing that helped me cope and was never wrong when I was feeling depressed or angry. My social advocacy project also gave me the chance to improve my communication skills. It allowed me to use what I was learning in school in the real world. I made a brochure that I can pass out to people, and I have written emails to Dr. George and Dr. Shandor. I also wrote a letter to the founder of NAM Foundation, Mr. Lamond. His website became the basis of my research and inspired me to keep pursuing this topic. In the future, I hope that music education in schools is considered an essential part of the curriculum. I want people to see that there are great benefits for funding music programs. When I see money being used for things that are needed, I think, hey, the band is still here and we need to fix some instruments. I heard that THS is redoing the stage, which is a small step that can lead to bigger things. Doing the social advocacy project is a way to put the idea out there and bring the awareness. I am grateful for this opportunity to express something I believe in so deeply. I would also like to thank Mr. Lawson for showing me my potential and never giving up on me when I wanted to quit. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, thank you very much. I don't have any questions right now, right this second, but I do have a couple comments. I was just talking to Dr. Shandor just a couple weeks, maybe a couple months ago, that there ought to be a class teaching our kids about what's real and what's fake news on social media, and here we're doing it. We were already doing it, evidently. Mrs. Malone, kudos to you. It's a great program, and kudos to the 3 that are up here. If you think you had problems with public speaking, you don't have any problems at all. You did wonderful tonight.
And there was no problem speaking tonight, was it? Nah.
No, no, yep, you did excellent, you did excellent.
did,
And
they
it's really heartfelt to me when I hear students come in and you really get excited about a class, because obviously you got excited about it. And that's what helps you learn, and that's for the teacher and you, it just, everything works perfect. So, great job, great job. I think you're very well prepared for the future, so. Any other
If I
comments
may
or questions?
echo similar comments, kudos to the staff for this, just the excitement that it brings. I want to go back to school. But you think about an age of technology and how we don't communicate. This is very, very important, what you're doing. And I can't echo that enough, because we are human. We have connections to just communication that just spells out so much in our lives. So kudos to you.
Mr. Anderson? Okay.
If I could just add one thing, I want to thank Ms. Malone. She's invited me the last 2 years to come and observe these students with the Ignite presentations. And I'm telling you, those Ignite presentations are no joke. They're really, really, really tough. There's a lot of pressure on these guys. And you all have done such a wonderful job. And I love the fact that you can pick your own topic, and it's something that you truly believe in. And you all just done a wonderful job. I also want to say, and I'll end this quickly, because I think you have to get to a lacrosse game. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll stop talking, and I'll turn it back over to
Okay,
Mr. Richardson.
thank you so much, appreciate it.
Congratulations.
So we just have a few more quick presentations, and after that, after we finish all those, the board will take a quick recess so we can come down and meet everyone before we finish the rest of the meeting. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Haywood.
Thank you. We now move into the school board, Virginia School Board Association Honor Roll Award on behalf of the York County School Division and the York County Foundation for Public Education. If Mr. and Mrs. Cheney will come back at this time. And this again is the Virginia School Board Association Business Honor Roll. The York Foundation for Public Education is pleased to honor 3 of its strongest supporters tonight by presenting them with the Virginia School Board Association 2018 Business Honor Roll Award. Thank you from the Foundation Board of Trustees for your commitment to the students, staff, and employees of the York County School Division. To highlight our winners for their continued support, I would like to introduce to you the next 3. First, congratulations and thanks to Mr. Kelvin Jones, Kings Creek Plantation CEO, and standing in for Mr. Jones is standing in for Mr. Cantrell for their sponsorship of the Early Bird Gold Apple level of $950 for the past several years. Kings Creek has already signed on as an Early Bird Gold Apple sponsor for this year's golf tournament on June the 20th. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones, for accepting on behalf of Kiln Creek Plantations. Second, congratulations and thanks to Mr. Randy Biagas, owner and CEO of Rand Enterprises, for their continued support over the years. Mr. Biagi. Fantastic.
We're good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And third, congratulations and thanks to Mr. Mike and Mrs. Kathy Zemilo, CEO and CGO of ITA International, for being this year's $5,000 tournament sponsor for this year's golf tournament.
Thank you.
I can't thank all of these individuals enough. Usually each year, there's a school board member that works with the foundation. This is my year of doing that, and it's fantastic just to work with the Board of Trustees, but also with the community and support of the foundation, so thank you.
Thank you. So just before we take our break, we have one last presentation that's not on the agenda. Dr. Shandor.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. So this is long overdue. So between, I think, my having the flu and I think you being out, this is a plaque in recognition of your dedicated service, Ms. Haywood, serving the board during the 2017-2018 year as school board chair, which is a lot of responsibility, as Mr. Richardson has found out over the past few months. So thank you so much. We can give her a big round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, so the board will take a short recess to meet the award recipients for tonight before we reconvene to finish the rest of the meeting.
His daddy, she looks like.
All right, we're going to call this meeting back to order, the York County School Board. First, we have unfinished business. We have none. Next, we have presentations and capital projects report. Dr. Shandor, if you'd like to share.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Board members, I'm going to ask Mr. Shearhart if he'll please come forward, Associate Director of Capital Plans, to present this month's capital project presentation. Mr. Shearhart.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Shandor. Here's your capital projects report for the month of April. I have 4 projects this evening I'll talk about. The first of these is the Tabb Elementary School, the HVAC and partial roof replacement. This slide you've seen before in last month. The first phase will, again, for Tabb Elementary School, involve mostly the original building, HVAC replacement there, installing a security vestibule, main office renovation, restroom renovations, etc. The second phase will take place mostly in the cafeteria and the gymnasium areas, and also the roof and window replacement will take place in the second phase in summer of 2019. So here we are in the timeline. The main office renovation has already started. The contractor was very busy during the spring break and did a lot of work in there. I've got pictures for you. I'll show you in just a minute. The final day for teachers to pack up this year is June 15th. This is the day following the school year. And then the custodians and maintenance staff will be moving furniture and boxes into the cafeteria and gymnasium over the weekend so that the contractor can start on June 18th, which is Monday. The contractor is scheduled to be substantially complete on August 17th, which will make the building ready in time for the teachers to return. And then the second phase will be obviously in the summer of 2019. This is the main, this is the side of the school here. You can see the main office entrance right now by the temporary main office entrance next to the orange bench there, and then the double doors there on the right-hand side is the main entrance for the staff and students. So this is right now on the right-hand side of the building facing the bus parking lot, just for the public, for the this slide you've seen before as well. But I want to focus on the large red oval there. That's where the contractor has been working. This is a picture of what the main office looks like. It is missing a few things. This is a picture was taken at the front door, looking into the building. You can see the brick pavers there in the lower right-hand corner of the picture, and about where the wheelbarrows and the other equipment is stored right there is about where the secretary's desks used to be, just to give you a perspective. And then you can see here the contractor was removing the brick pavers that were there at the entrance of the building. That's all been taken out. They've poured concrete in there now, and we're going to put a new floor in there with recessed floor mats and things like that in there. So, and it's also going to be wider. The entrance is also going to be wider. This is another picture from the front entrance into the building. You can see here the first gray spot on the floor there. That's actually where the conference room used to be at. And then beyond that was the principal's office and the assistant principal's office. The orange wall in the back there used to be in the assistant principal's office. So you can see they're all gone, and they will be rebuilt there in slightly different configuration. This is a picture standing inside of the staff break room there. And you can see they're in the process of moving and relocating some doors and adding in some doors, and that's why the holes are cut into the brick wall here, or this cinder block wall. You can also see here some of the air conditioning ductwork being installed. They put the blue plastic over the end of it to keep dust out of the ductwork while they're storing it, and then as they install it, to take the blue plastic off. So that's what's going on there with that blue plastic on the ductwork. You can see here also there's plumbing work going on in the front of the building in the main office area. So there's plumbing, new plumbing going in, HVAC work, and also electrical work taking place in the front of the building right now. Then when they return, they're going to see this beautiful new entrance here, a new facade on the front of the school, so it's not going to look like it looks like now. Be a total makeover on the front there. And then when they walk in, they're not going to see that demolished office anymore. They'll see this really nice office. I keep telling them, short-term pain, long-term gain. It's going to be very beautiful when it gets done. So the next project I'd like to touch on this evening is the Tabb Middle School partial re-roof. So I talked to the staff there today just to bring them up to speed where we're at and what the expectations are there. And then we have a pre-bid meeting on Wednesday, the 25th, to walk the contractors through the building before they submit their bids. Bids are due on May 8th. We expect the construction to start on June 18th, and entails removing all of the shingles that are on the building now. The shingles are failing there, and the failure is due to, it looks like it's due to heat buildup inside the roof. And so the shingles will be removed, and ice and water shield will be installed over the top of the roof sheathing. And then the contractor will install metal channels and then begin the metal roof panel installation on top of those channels. We do expect the roof installation to take place to continue into the school year. We don't have enough time to take the entire roof off and replace it all within the 60 days. They have to take all the shingles off first and then put the ice and water shield down, and then they put the metal on top of that. They are scheduled to be substantially complete by November 30th, and with the final completion being December 31st. There is some incentive pay for the contractor if he finishes early. So some of the things that I've mentioned already, that the project includes removing the existing shingles. They also are going to replace damaged roof sheathing. This is the wood sheathing. Basically, it's plywood underneath the shingles. They're going to replace that where it's damaged. Install the ice and water shield, and obviously install the new metal roof. Also, some of the soffits around the building are damaged because of the water leaking through the roof. They're going to be restoring those soffits, and also in the media center there's some drywall and some ceilings that need to be repaired. So here's a picture, several pictures of what the school looks like now. It's very difficult to see here, but this is the shingled roof on there now. And we think that we feel like the school is a very attractive-looking school, the orange brick and the green roof, and this is an attractive-looking building. So we didn't want to deviate from that look. So the thought is to go back with a metal green roof on the building. So it'd have the ribs in here, and if you see in the this is from the architect's computer, or a modeling or a rendering of what the roof will look like. And so you can see here, it's going to be a standing seam roof. It'll look somewhat similar to what Coventry looks like, except for it'll be green. And so I've showed the color sample to the staff today. So just another couple of images that the architect provided for us of what the roof will look like. So because there's not enough time to finish the entire building in the summer, we're going to start at the back of the building. Actually, at the top of this picture, top of this slide, is the back of the addition of the building, the 2000 addition. It was put on in 2000. And so this area of the building actually is what leaks the worst. So we're going to start in the back there, work forward, and get that part done. And then the thought is the last part of the building that we would do, the last part of the roof that we do is this area in the yellow, which wraps around the cafeteria and the gymnasium. And it covers the kitchens and locker rooms and the band and chorus and things like that, where we wouldn't think that any kind of noise that's coming from the roof would be an issue. We did do some tests there, and walking around the roof, drilling some screws into the roof, and the teachers felt like that amount of noise wasn't gonna be of consequence to their instruction. And the next topic is the new elementary school. The design committee went up and visited two schools. One was Baldwin Elementary, and the other one was Covington Harper. These were schools designed by Mosley Architects. So we went up there to see what they had in those schools, to get some ideas what we want to put in our new school. We went up there on April 10th, had a day trip.
Where was that? Where was that? When you said
They're in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
One's in Prince William.
Manassas City.
And Manassas,
Okay.
right. The The design committee is going to review our visits. We've been generating some notes about our visits, and we've got a lot of pictures to look at. And so we're going to sit down on April 27th and come up with a list of what we want the architects to put in our school. So the schematic design phase is due from the architects on May 25th. And the school construction timeline is still based on the residential construction around those schools, around the school. And it is somewhat slow at this point in time. So school construction is just based on when the need is going to be there.
Have we heard any more about the development? Because it was, okay, the developer wants an anchor store, then the anchor store wants, it was who wants what first? And then when we saw the Sams were beginning to close, then although I didn't hear it, I just took for granted Sam's may not come to the marquee. So have we heard anything in particular?
We haven't heard anything about the Sam's Club. We heard that they asked to push out a little bit the date that they were going to build the bridge across the creek over to the site, and then we approved that date, and but that's as far as we've heard from the developer. Okay, so the last project would be the Grafton Complex project, Grafton HVAC replacement and security enhancements. This, we're going to focus on the main office and rotating it there. I don't have any images I can show you quite yet. We had some meetings with the principals. I'll talk about that in a second. So main office reorientation towards the main entrance and creating security vestibules in both entrances, replacing the heating and air conditioning systems throughout the building, and hopefully replacing all of the lighting in the building with LED, which would be a big energy savings, and then replacing the cooling tower, which is part of the heating and air conditioning system. So the A&E design will be this year, and the first phase of construction will be next summer. So a project update on this is we met with the principals and their administrative staff on April 17th, just to look at some proposed designs that the architect and I had come up with. Just trying to get their ideas and their thoughts flowing. We didn't want to go in there with a blank slate because then they didn't know where to start from. So we have some suggestions by them, and so the architect is implementing them, and we will meet with the principals and staff again on April 26th to look at those designs and see if they're the finalized designs there. Construction documents for this project are expected to be in October 1st. And that's going to be my last slide for this evening. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm fine, thanks.
I just have one question, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but one of the students up here mentioned water bottle fillers on the water fountains. Aren't we doing that in some?
Yes,
'cause
as we...
I thought I'd seen that in some schools, so I just thought we were already starting to upgrade those because
Right.
that's a,
As we go through the schools and do the renovations, we go ahead and put in the water bottle fillers. It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Kids can just fill it up. And before they were trying to tip the bottle over and trying to fill it, it just didn't work.
and they're all drinking water now, which is good.
Yes,
They're staying
yes.
hydrated. So great. That's good to know. That was the only question I had, but thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Before we get into our public participation at school board meetings, I notice we have a scout in the audience, and I'm not going to put you on the spot or anything, but what troop are you from?
He's going to come to the microphone.
Okay, yeah. You can come on up. That way you can, up to the microphone here, and you can tell us what troop you're from.
But you're not putting him on the spot.
I didn't want to put you on the spot. I was going to do it from there, but that's fine.
That's all right. I'm from Troop 103.
103, great. And
What's
what
your name?
badge are you working on tonight?
I'm working on my communications merit badge.
Okay, and your name?
LeBron Jones.
Okay, thank you, LeBron. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Great job, LeBron. Thank you.
Yes.
you.
As I told him, a scout is always prepared. Be ye prepared.
He was
and
very
he
prepared. I
was,
was
yes.
involved with Scouts with my son. He was
Yeah.
very prepared, so. So next, we have public participation in board meetings. I'll call forward anyone who signed up to speak. The school board provides public comment period for the public to comment on topics germane to business of the school board. The board expects each speaker to be courteous, modeling our students, and one can respectfully disagree with others' views. We ask the speakers address their comments to the entire board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, the staff member, or the audience. Speakers will present their comments from the podium, and each speaker may speak up to 3 minutes. A timer is visible to speakers from the podium, and speakers should conclude their remarks when the red light comes on. As a reminder, school board members do not respond to public comment during the meeting or the hearing. So our first speaker tonight is Pam Pouchot. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
My name is Pam Pouchot. I reside at 103 Kimberly Court, Yorktown. Tonight, you have a first reading of Section J of the Policy Manual. I'd like to address some of the sections. You have paperwork in front of you on page 59. It's concerning questioning, searches, and seizures. And you state, in most cases, the student's parent or guardian will be called. There's no excuse for not contacting parents or guardians before any questioning is done by law enforcement. I believe that this must be mandatory, and I'd like to see that word from most changed to all. On page 60, you talk about weapons. The Code of Virginia permits a student to possess an unloaded firearm properly stored in his or her vehicle on school property. Until this ridiculous statute is rescinded, it is imperative that school staff is aware that finding such a firearm is not cause to notify law enforcement, as no illegal act has been committed. Arrest now and look for the facts later is not an acceptable policy. Those who are on school property for any non-school sponsored event, such as a PTA meeting, which is merely facilitated by the school division, are also exempt from prohibition of carrying a firearm. Staff needs to be aware that a PTA board meeting in a corner of the library or cafeteria during school hours may legally enter the school with a firearm. This is also applicable for any school group allowed on school property that is non-school sponsored. I think it is imperative that your staff is aware of these laws. You have a copy there of 18.2-308.1, which shows that it is quite legal. On page 62, under harassment based on race, national origin, and disability, I would like to see you add gender identity to that title. Although this is addressed on page 63, gender identity should also be in the title of Section B. On page 64, this is under complaint procedures, formal procedure file report. Again, I would like you to add gender identity to that particular paragraph. On page 68, you have under false charges, it states students or school personnel who knowingly make false charges of harassment shall be subject to, and you have crossed out all the rest of that sentence. This is now an incomplete sentence. It needs to be finished. I don't know what it is you have in mind there. And under long-term suspension, on page 70, House Bill 1600 is a 2018 bill that was passed in the General Assembly and signed by the governor, has reduced long-term suspensions to 45 days with exceptions for weapons, drugs, and serious bodily injury. This section needs to be amended to reflect the change in state statute as of July 1, 2018. I'd also like to address you on another issue, and I am running out of time, so I guess I'm not going to be allowed to do it. But since I am the only speaker up here, would you make an exception? No.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we'd have to
I'll
make
be
it
back.
for everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Pam. You were the only one signed up to speak tonight, but is there anyone else that did not sign up that would like to speak tonight? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move ahead. We're going to go into matters by the board, and I'm going to go into Mr. Anderson if you have any remarks.
Yes, as always, thank you to the citizens for visiting and voicing your concerns. I had the opportunity since my last appearance to do a couple of things. One was go to the School of the Arts talent show a couple of months ago. That was awesome. We have some incredibly talented students, in case you didn't know. I also went to Sound of Music this past weekend, another great performance. But the highlight was visiting Tabb Elementary. That was a good way to spend a couple of hours on a Friday. The school and the capital improvements that have been made there is just incredible. It's beautiful. The leadership there is doing a good thing.
Yorktown Elementary.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said Tabb. It's okay.
We had so much Tabb tonight.
We love Tabb too,
Yeah.
but I know you were talking about Yorktown Elementary.
I went to Yorktown, yeah, Yorktown. I'm tired.
Sorry.
So, yeah. But it's just an incredible school, incredible people, and I look forward to visiting some more.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Haywood?
Thank you. A couple of things. Congratulations to Queens Lake and Bruton Odyssey of the Mind teams. Both are headed to World Finals in Iowa. Also, last weekend, the Williamsburg York NAACP AXO had competition at Bruton High School. And Bruton is proud to have several students participate in third and first place winners. Then they will advance to national competition in San Antonio. And that will be in July, so congratulations to those students. I had the opportunity to attend Bruton's Students Art Contest, and we have a lot of talented students in their artwork, so congratulations to all of them. We've had, some of us had the opportunity to go to a National School Board Association meeting, a conference in San Antonio. One of the nice things about a national conference is that you get to network with people across the country, and you realize is that, I call it the G, the B, the U, the good, the bad, the ugly. You get to celebrate your successes. You get to find out what other divisions are doing that you can kind of borrow from and take from and bring back home. And as you can imagine, a lot of talk has been on school safety and security. We attended some conferences with that. A lot on opiates and how we are dealing with our schools and students, and especially medications that are in the home and parents stop taking, but students getting to. So that was fantastic. And also looking at just overall diversity in the schools and with our faculty and with our students. So they were all good sessions, and I'm pleased to have had the opportunity to attend. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Haywood. And again, thank you for mentioning that about the school board conference, because I attended some great meetings and learning conferences there. I think one of the really interesting ones was coding, that a lot of school divisions are now teaching their students, starting at the kindergarten age and on up, because that's the future of starting to teach those children how to write computer programs, how to code on a computer and make a robot or whatever, do certain things. So that was very interesting. But I was able to attend the Board of Supervisors meeting last Tuesday night. They were talking about the budget, and Dr. Shandor made a few remarks at that meeting. And it was great to be there and at least greet the supervisors and listen to them in the budget process. I'm planning on attending the Curious Savage play. I'm sorry that I missed the Sound of Music. I understand it was very good, but I had some other commitments and couldn't go. But I'm looking forward to the Curious Savage play at Bruton High School. The SOA is presenting that one on May 5th. Actually, I think it's May 4th and 5th or during that weekend, but that's the night that I plan to attend. So anyway, I think that does our board comments. We're going to move on to financial matters, and Mr. Anderson, you have the floor for financial matters.
All right. We'll talk about revenues first. State and state sales tax revenues for March 2018 were up $1.3 million and $537,000 respectively over the same time last year. Federal revenue was down $3.9 million due to the irregular receipt of postings and impact aid revenues. Also, local revenues for the food service fund are approximately $71,000 less through March of 18 due to the difference in timing in which revenues are received and posted to the account. In regards to expenditures, the additional instructional positions added to the 2018 budget and the increase of salary and benefits related to the 2% employee pay raise contributed to instructional expenditures to increase. The increase in salary and benefits also contributed to transportation, food service operations, and operations and maintenance expenditures to all be higher than the same time 2017. A slight increase in service purchases and an increase in copy machine lease payments contributed to the increases in transportation and operations and maintenance expenditures. And finally, our significant expenditures for March 2018 were $102,000 to New Horizons Regional Educational Center for regional school tuition, $255,000 to Sodexo for food service operations, $195,450 to Kingmore Supply for 2 special ed buses and a $69,000 payment to Vacor for workman's compensation insurance. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the financial report be approved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second that financial reports be approved along with the resolution 18-22.
A motion is made by Mr. Anderson and seconded by Mrs. Haywood to approve financial matters. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Haywood?
Yes.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes. All right, next we have the consent calendar, and I'm going to go over briefly what those topics are. The approval of personnel actions. I assume all board members have had a chance to read. Approval of donations, approval of the Carl Perkins grant application for FY19. This is a yearly grant that the school division does. Approval of the 2018 additions and changes to the York County School Division secondary reading list. Is there anybody who'd like to make a motion and second to approve the consent calendar?
I move approval.
Second.
Are there any questions, or does anyone have anything that need to be pulled? Okay, hearing none?
A motion is made by Mrs. Haywood and seconded by Mr. Anderson to approve the consent calendar. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Haywood?
Yes.
And Mr. Richardson?
Yes. So next, we have a consideration for approval of a proclamation for National Teacher Appreciation Day, May 8th, 2018. Dr. Shandor, if you'd like
Thank
to share
you.
comments.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Richardson. Teacher Appreciation Day is celebrated annually in YCSD, Virginia, and across the country in recognition of our great teachers and the amazing work they accomplish each day. I've often said that there are 2 types of employees here in YCSD, teachers and those who support them. Our teachers provide our students with the foundation for their success in school and in life. We appreciate and value all the quality work our dedicated teachers do every day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I just need a motion and a second to approve the proclamation for National Teacher Appreciation Day.
I make a motion for approval.
Second.
Ms. Ford, would you poll the board?
A motion is made by Mr. Anderson and seconded by Mrs. Haywood to approve the proclamation for National Teacher Appreciation Day. Mrs. Haywood?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
And Mr. Richardson?
Yes. Next, we have consideration of approval of a proclamation for School Nurses Day, which is May 9th, 2018. Dr. Shandor?
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. We have 18 nurses on staff in YCSD. National School Nurse Day honors all school nurses who care for the children in our schools every day. School nurses are an essential component to a student's education, as we know that healthy students learn better. We appreciate all of the caring service our school nurses provide to our students. Thank you.
So I just need a motion and a second to approve this proclamation for School Nurse Day.
I gladly approve this proclamation for School Nurse Day.
I second.
Ms. Ford?
A motion is made by Mrs. Haywood and seconded by Mr. Anderson to approve the proclamation for School Nurse Day. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Haywood?
Yes.
And Mr. Richardson?
Yes. So next, we have consideration of approval of proclamation for National Education Bosses Week for May 21st through 25th, 2018. Dr. Shandor?
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. In recognition of our many educational leaders who are ensuring our students are prepared to contribute positively as productive citizens in the community and the world, I will share a few highlights from the proclamation. York County's educational bosses lead by filling many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors to make our schools great. The York County School Board recognizes the significance of many and varied duties and responsibilities assumed by the educational leaders at all levels of the educational process. I want to extend my appreciation to our entire leadership team for the excellent work they do on a daily basis. Thank you.
So I need a motion to approve the proclamation for National Education Bosses Week.
Before I make the motion, why do bosses get a week and the teachers get a day?
Good question.
It's a great question. I don't know.
I make a motion for approval of Educational Bosses Week, May the 21st through the 25th.
Second.
Second, Ms. Ford?
I'm thinking about your
A motion is
answer.
made by Mr. Anderson and seconded by Mrs. Haywood to approve the proclamation for National Educational Bosses Week. Mrs. Haywood?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes. So next, we have policy discussion. We have none for that, but we have first reading under policy discussion. And Dr. Shandor, if you would share remarks.
Yes, thank you. So for A, actually for A and B, but for A, since our last discussion last month, there have been no changes to this policy.
And for both of them, there have been no changes.
Correct. So, right, the finance one as well, there's been no changes for that policy either.
Right. No questions from the board?
And as I said earlier, and I think it has been answered, as we move to per diem, and I have no problem with moving to per diem, but since it's new to the division, just to ask all the questions and have all the answers, so that when we start doing that, it will be okay. And in reading the policy, it said per diem is for meals and incidental expenses. And I don't know if you want to answer or bring this to.
So incidentals, and Mr. Bowen can correct me if I'm wrong, but incidentals, from my perspective, would be a taxi, ground transportation for those who are
Okay.
traveling. Are there some other
Okay.
examples, Mr. Bowen? Now that I stole your 2 examples.
Some common incidentals could have been phone calls, business phone calls. Those are generally not submitted anymore because everybody carries a cell phone.
Right.
But transportation from the airport to the conference facility in lieu of renting a car, that would be something common. Also, there's a small allowance for a bellhop. Now, I've never seen one in the school division. I don't anticipate there being
Right,
one, but if
right.
someone, had an injury and couldn't carry their
Right.
luggage, certainly that would be allowable.
Right, okay.
So just to clarify, per diem is for meals, incidentals will be an additional on top of that.
On
that
top
they
of the
could-
meals, that's
That they
correct.
could ask for reimbursement for those incidentals.
Now, so again, per diem is for meals and
And then the incidentals would be on top of that, so
in addition to.
in addition
To the
to,
meals.
They would
Okay.
have, just submit a receipt for that.
correct.
Okay.
Is the per diem set sort of like the federal government based on the location of the attendance?
That's correct. We follow the GSA schedule.
Okay.
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 Thank you,
good.
Mr. Bowen.
Thank you very much. So policy second reading, we have none. And I'll turn over now to report of the superintendent, Dr. Shandor.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. First, I apologize. I'm holding my glasses because I brought the wrong glasses and I cannot see or read with
You want me to
these
hold it
glasses.
over here?
Yes, your arms aren't long enough. Just a couple comments this evening with the superintendent's report. The YCSD Teacher of the Year program is sponsored by Town Bank through the York Foundation for Public Education. I want to extend congratulations to this year's division-wide Teacher of the Year, Miss Jamie Buckley. She's a teacher from Queens Lake Middle School, and Miss Haywood and other staff members joined us last week as we surprised her with announcing that she's the Division Teacher of the Year. She was one of 3 finalists for the honor as the Division Teacher of the Year. She's now a candidate for the Regional Teacher of the Year. I also want to extend congratulations to our other finalists, Rebecca Cobb. She's a PE teacher at Magruder Elementary School, and then Jamie Norton, who is one of our outstanding teachers at York River Academy. A listing of all 19 school-level Teachers of the Year, along with our 3 finalists, is now available on our division website. Next, I did want to share, this is, it's a busy time of year, but it's also one of the best times of year because we're doing a lot of recognitions. So I've spent a great deal of time in schools. I was actually just at Grafton Middle School today, giving out an Apple Award for recognition. So that's always a really awesome opportunity to lift our people up, giving them awards. Also, reading in classrooms. I'll say this again, I've said this in many meetings. If you're a community member out there and you love to read, come in and read to our kids. They absolutely love that time with adults coming in to read to them. And finally, Mr. Richardson indicated earlier, I did speak to the supervisors last week through public comment related to their budget process. Mr. Morgan and I will continue to have conversations about the FY19 budget. The state has yet to finalize that budget, so the supervisors are going to vote May 1st, which is next Tuesday, on the budget for the county. Once that is taken care of, and depending on when the state budget is finalized, we may need to make some adjustments following that process. So this concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Shandor. Anyone have any questions?
Only comment, we were excited about the superintendent's proposed budget, excited about the new things that we could do and how we could address our teachers and staff. I'm still going to be optimistic, and hopefully, as we said then, we may have to go back to the drawing board. I really hope that doesn't happen, because this is in the first year of many that it's been positive, and
Right.
it's been excited about doing some new and additional things.
So just real quick comment back to that. I would say I'm optimistic as well. I'm hoping those are adjustments, are positive adjustments.
Yes,
For
exactly.
the school division.
Yes.
I'll tell you, the communication and collaboration has continued to improve between the county staff and our staff and both boards as well. That's one of the comments that I shared with them, that I'm really proud of the work that our teams have done from the joint work session we had earlier in the winter when our cabinet team presented together with county staff members. I thought that was a really good way to do that, so both boards can see that that wasn't just about a presentation. There's a lot of collaboration that happens in the division. And the other thing I want to share is that Mr. Morgan, our county administrator, has been very supportive of the school division. He and I have been committed to create a move away from the us versus them mentality and try to create a we philosophy. And I think that that's something that he's embraced, that I've embraced, and that's contagious when the two leaders of organizations take that position. So I'm certainly optimistic as well for the budget.
Very good. Well, thank you. One quick question. Do we have a date when we'll know where the regional status is for our Teacher of the Year?
Oh, I have to ask Kathy.
I was just curious when.
They announced in
It'll be-
like August, September.
August or September,
Okay.
and we'll get you that information.
Yeah, no, I was just curious if you knew right off the top. All right, well, that's it. That concludes our regular meeting. This meeting's adjourned. Our next work session will be held on May the 7th. Thank you.
Thank you.